So we're gonna make this pilot helmet. We're gonna do the full set. We're gonna do the mask, the goggles, and the helmet itself. And to start, I just started with collecting some references and putting it all together. Like some reference of how I want the final asset to look like. Then some reference with a bit higher quality, so we can actually see the details and the texture. I also like to get some 3D reference in there of just the best asset in 3D that you can find of the asset that you're gonna make. So you can kinda look at it and make sure that your asset's gonna match the quality. And like some things, maybe I'll add some fur to make the asset look more interesting, and the texture, some interior shot. So we're gonna start in Zbrush with a block out. It's gonna go here. And again, to do all the saves, I'm using one of my plugins. You can get it on ArtStation. And we just make one save one time in the location. Then if we hit save, it will give us a new save with a new number. So we can always go back in history and we won't lose any work, let's say if we have a crash or anything. So I'm just gonna start with the goggles. You can just take any head mesh, right? Doesn't matter. It's just to start working from, so we can extract shapes and we can fit the helmet. This doesn't need to be perfect, just get some quick stuff going. Again, extracting with a plugin, it's also over at ArtStation. All the plugins that I use, you can find it in my store. I'm just gonna try to match that softer effect by lowering the segments. I want to start working with colors right away. It's just gonna make it a little bit easier to see what we're designing. And fill this one up. And I have more reference on my second screen that I'm looking at. Go ahead and block that helmet out. And go for the ears. And just remember, do this all as fast as possible, doing these masks, because this is just the block out and design stage. So we just want to get our stuff in there as quickly as possible. And then we can start actually adjusting later on. And even though like we have a design, we still need to think about some things like, am I gonna make the helmet like go around the chin, or I'm gonna let the things hang? I think I'm just gonna let them hang because I think it looks a little bit nicer. But we'll see. We can lower that mesh a bit so it extracts a little bit faster. Just gonna make sure that I smooth the ears out, so we do not need those. Can use polish. It's gonna flatten stuff out a little bit. That should do it. So smooth those lines out there. I'm gonna start by blocking out those ear things. If we look to a different mask. Which one? This one. See that they're actually quite big and then they have like leather covering them. As you can see, we have that big shape and then we got leather over it. So I'm just gonna go here. Actually, just gonna keep this image up for most of the time. Now if I browse my reference, it will be on my second screen. But that's just a heads up, so you know that I'm looking to a different screen. For this one, I'm just gonna put a mask here. It's gonna be a little bit faster to extract. I wish we could alter how tight that is, but we can't. It looks like it's a bit too big. Let's make it a little bit more rounded as well. I'm gonna clean all these shapes up later, so don't worry about it too much, but just get those shapes looking right. I'll make this one a little bit more gray. Now let's go ahead and do the mask. This one I actually just gonna take a ball. Let's get like a greenish brown color. A little bit green. It's not obviously should be going over the nose. Covering the whole mouth area. And hide those for a moment. I'm looking at this reference. Just trying to kinda like get a distance from the eyes, right? So it's not too much, so I want to push that up a little bit. And this empty space at the nose here. And round it out. That's how we kind of match the size up. Just want to shape it a little bit. Leave like a ball there. So let's keep it like that for now. That should be way high actually. Let's just take this one. Let's fix that topology. Just try to kind of get that size right. And watch the angle, that's really important. Should be more straight, I think. Then duplicate. Then we can match this color. This is where like the tube is gonna go in. Longer. Then it has like a hole here, but actually let's do that. Keep this one kind of thin. Then we can duplicate. So also make that one symmetrical. You do that by having symmetry on while you see remesh. You can see that we're kinda like modeling instead of sculpting. I think it's just a little bit easier. So we can keep that post subdiv so we get a nice sharp edge. And I think that's like nicer to kind of model things out because we can keep it really non-destructive, right? We can easily change the thickness and whatever and move things around, like adjust that curve. If you have everything in like a sloppy Dynamesh, it's gonna be way harder to actually adjust. And duplicate it one more time. Let's see if we can just rotate that pretty easily or not. Yes, that's not too bad to do. You don't have to block everything out. Just block out whatever you think is important and what doesn't take too much time to block out. I think it'd be nice to have that shape in it, but I don't want to spend too much time on it. So I'm just gonna leave it kinda imperfect. Then later we can actually clean that up. But for now I think that's quite a nice shape for a block out. Also gonna make my first save. Again, just press here and that's all. You don't have to do anything. Now we have a new save called Pilot Helmet 002. You can see how fast it is to save now, which is awesome. It's just gonna save you a bunch of time if you like work the same as I do, that you make like backups of your saves. And if you don't do it, I really recommend you do, so you don't lose any work if Zbrush crashes or your file goes corrupt or whatever reason. I think we all had to happen, right? And it just happens once and it's horrible. Just gonna make this one sharp. Just make that a little bit thicker. And then polish it out a little bit to make it thinner. We can store morph target, then polish. Then we can adjust the morph target to get fine control over how much smaller it should be, which is nice. Let's try subdiv like that now. Keep it sharp. I think this one can be a little bit bigger. I wish this was like a cleaner job of subdividing it. I don't think we can get it look cleaner. for now. Let's go ahead and make a new group. Just gonna go here, new folder, call this mask. Again, we don't want to work too much on a mask. We want to work in all areas, kinda like at the same time. Make sure we actually fill it with colors. Let's make a new one here. Goggles. I'm gonna keep my face as like the first subtool, and that's just gonna hold the name of the CTL, and that's what the plugin needs. So I don't want to mess around with the first subtool at all. Just gonna leave that untouched and keep it out of folder. Let's call this one helmet. And this one should be a mask. So I think now I'm just kind of looking like what's the biggest thing that we're missing. And I think right now it's like the extra things on the goggles. So that will be the next thing that I make. So I want to have like a shape like this, and then we can place another one like that over it. Kind of check out that distance. Again, your mask doesn't need to be perfect. We can adjust the shape with the move brush. So don't be too worried about this. Drop down some subdivisions to make it faster to extract. Let's get the pinching on. Let's take like a bluish gray. And thickness. So I want to keep that offset the same and just the thickness. Make sure it's looking nice and smooth. Just wanna get that hole back in there. I'm gonna put this one here. So let's put it here. Okay, start moving that around a bit. Get the resolution back here so we can kind of see where the eyes are. Just by hitting the polish we can all thin that out. I think this should be gone as well. You can just kind of go back between thickness and no thickness. Because I do want to be sure that I keep like a nice topology. Because that's gonna make everything easier. Now let's go ahead and just kind of push this out. Let's do like this. Then dropping the subdivisions to have a fast extract. You can see how useful the plugin is for all these little actions, like deleting a mask and extracting. I do really recommend that you get it if you're gonna do like a modeling approach inside Zbrush, because it's gonna save you a lot of pain. And I do think that's like the most fun way to model, right? We're still having very clean shapes, but instead of doing it like in a model program where it's just kinda a pain, I don't really like to model at all. It's just all in Zbrush, which makes it a lot of fun for me. Because I hate having to worry about like my topology and my loops and all that stuff. And with Zbrush, it's basically to get a clean topology. All that I have to worry about is that I Z-remesh and that I do some polishing then. I think that's manageable. I don't mind doing that. And we can really easily just adjust that topology with the move brushes and smooth. Also make a duplicate of the ladder, because we have like two kind of layers of ladder. So it's gonna be the first one. It's gonna make this one a little bit thicker. Change that offset a bit. And then duplicate. I want this one to be even more thick. And just delete that. Seems like we forgot to fill the color, which is always annoying. Just gonna give this one a little bit of a darker color, so we can visualize the different layers a bit. And again, this doesn't need to be like a perfect color. The colors are just to like help you design. If I look at it like this, it's a lot more difficult for me to match everything. If I just have that separation of color, it's gonna help me out a lot. But if it's easier for you to not work with colors, don't do it, of course. So pay close attention to the shape of the eyes. It's gonna be pretty important. I'm also gonna put some glasses in there for now. And I think that will just make me focus a little bit less on the eyes. Then we can unhide them sometimes. I'm gonna make this one pretty thin. I think that's pretty far for the goggles. I think next will be the helmet, to push that one a little bit further. Let's see if we have like a nice material. Maybe this one. I think that one's too distracting. Yeah, let's try this one. So just do mRGB. That's gonna fill the color and the material. And that's way too distracting actually. Maybe this one. Can unhide that. I think I'll go with like a pearl on a gray. I think that's pretty good. It's not too distracting. So I think everything is protruding like forwards too much. So I just want to move that all out and in a bit. It can protrude in a little bit, but I don't want that angle to be that extreme. I'm just looking at some reference from the side view, my second screen. I think that looks a little bit more normal. This one's really thick. I'm just putting everything in groups so I can easily like unhide one element of the asset. And let's save. So let's go and make our first strap around the goggles so we can start to kind of blend the elements together. This is really easy. So all we have to do is just go to a head mesh. And literally all we do is just paint a mask. So like that, and lower the resolution a bit, extract. Just put this down. Now I want to delete this. Just delete hidden, mask this, and polish. Then gonna do one more same, maybe half, and that's all. Now add some thickness. Now we got a pretty nice strap. I just move that out. That's how easy it is to do straps in Zbrush. You can probably tell as well that the strap, it's quite thin. So we're gonna do the same as earlier. We're gonna do a morph target and then polish. Actually, because we want to make it thicker, let's do a get rid of that morph target. Let's do a layer and polish, polish. Now we can just invert that polish effect. Now we can make our strap thicker really easily. We can delete this, or we can keep this. So you kind of keep that, like you can keep that, it's not destructive. You can mess with thickness later. But I like to just get rid of it, so I don't have to work with layers yet. But if you'd like, you can not bake down and you have that non-destructive aspect to it. But I prefer to just thin it out again. Actually, we applied the subdivision. When do we do that? Just gonna go back a bit. Because I definitely don't want subdivisions yet. Gonna do this on post sub. So again, layer, polish, and just inverted layer, and bake all. And now we have a first strap. Gonna match that color a bit to the mask. Fill that one up. Actually, it should be green. This one, take this color and make it a bit lighter. I think that's okay. Let's work more on the helmet. So yeah, I'm gonna keep it open. I think it just looks a little bit nicer than like having this shape. I think this is like a more interesting silhouette. And then we can also mess a bit with the symmetry later. And here I'm just, instead of keeping it down, just moving it up to kind of follow that shape here. That's just a little bit of design. If you watch it, we shouldn't have skin here. So maybe we need to move the helmet down or the goggles up. Keep an eye on the eyes here. Okay, just keep making sure that you make saves. You can see how much space we have here. So let's be sure to match that, so we can actually put those handles there. I think we can move this one a bit as well. Kinda want to center that on the ear. I want to be a little bit less like a ball, the shape. Just gonna push that in a bit. At this point we don't have to like exactly match the head. We can kind of get away from it. It's just as a guide. Now the shape is all that matters. Unless you're working on a project, be sure that it obviously covers all of your base mesh. Gonna match that here. Let's get rid of the goggles. See, that's a little bit too low. Just push it out a bit. I guess we can move this one a bit. Let's also push the mask a bit. So let's take this. Actually, we can just take the back side. Now delete mask. Gonna create a mask. And let's polish that up. I'm kinda trying to get a little bit more shape into it already. Maybe something like this. Let's work a bit on the helmet. So let's go ahead and make a little patch so we can make some straps to the mask. I only want to have this on one side. Let's keep it for now on both. Let's just shape that. We're gonna make this one match the goggle color. This one lost its color because we remeshed. Just gonna make that black. Maybe a fast shaded black. That's basically gonna make it like unlit almost. Something like that. And let's keep it black. I want to be sure that I fill the material as well. So go ahead and move this. Should put those ears in. Again, don't move the ears in if you're working for a project. For a shape that you like. Now moving the goggle up instead of moving the helmet down, because we matched that to the reference, if you remember. I think we can move this all up a little bit. I think it's a little bit too high now. This just kinda tweaking the placement till you get something that you like. Which can take some time, but that's okay. be sure that I really like the placement before committing to anything. Actually, you can see some of the leather through the goggles. Let's be sure that you can see that. Maybe something like this. It's just looks super high still. So I think I'll just move the helmet down a bit. Because I don't like the skin to show through here. I think it looks nice when it's all like nicely covered in leather. Do want to be sure that we have some empty space there. And the space in between is gonna create like a nice silhouette, otherwise it's all gonna be really rounded. Now we have like we got this really nice angle break in here. Then we can kind of match that angle break again here. That's just gonna bring out a sense of design in it if we kind of match that angle. Yeah, and be careful where you have skin popping through. I don't think that looks nice, so cover it all up. I think we can extend this into the goggles here, so it's a bit more closed off, which makes more sense. And you have this stuff flaring out, make it a little bit less thick. Let's get that black back. Now we can just duplicate this and just flip it over. I feel like this is not symmetrical, so let's make sure it is. If you get like this ugly, like it's not nice and even, just smooth out the corners and polish that up again. That's gonna make it nice and smooth. Again, don't spend too much time on this. Make it a little bit thinner. Let's get rid of that mask first. Just making it a little thinner so it's not exactly the same. Then we have a second one. That one's going to like here. Then we should have like this one, but since we're not making it connecting, it's just gonna be a really long one hanging, I guess. We can see. Yeah, it should be one hanging. And duplicate this one. Delete by symmetry. Put on here. I'm gonna make it as long. It doesn't necessarily need to be like functional, how long I make it. Because I'm gonna like prioritize the design over functionality on this asset. So then let's say this is way too long, so I'm just gonna look for something that I like the length of. We can make these a little smaller maybe. Maybe I will end up closing the helmet. I think it's gonna look a little bit nicer with the straps. Then we still get like this flat shape by this one hanging. But we'll take a look at that later. That's annoying, I made this... Oh no, it's still alright. It just has some weird stuff going on. Let's refill that. RGB. So like that. Let's save. I'm gonna make this in a new folder called straps. So let's save. I'm gonna hold it at this point for a bit. So let's go ahead and make these little holders for the goggle. I've got a better picture somewhere. Right here. So let's start with like this little thing. It's like a plane and it curls in on itself. So I think this will definitely be easy in Maya. So I'm just gonna take one of these. I'm gonna export and open up Maya. So we don't have the thickness as it's just a preview, but we don't need it. Also gonna take this one. Let's just import that. So now we kind of have an idea of where we are and how big everything is. Just gonna create a cube. You kind of want to look for yourself what you think is like the easiest way to make something. If you think something will be easy and fast in Zbrush, do it in Zbrush. If you think it's faster to just model it with poly modeling, just poly model it. It doesn't need to be perfect in Maya. I like to do like really quick rough models, then get them in Zbrush and then adjust them there. But I hate doing like any spiraling thing in Zbrush. I think it's terrible. So I prefer to just go inside Maya, make sure I get something like really nice and clean. I just extrude that. Because there's like a tricky topology to get right with zero mesher. It's almost undoable. So I'm gonna add the thickness in, do it in Maya, so I can really get that thing there. And I don't know why my extrude doesn't give me my pivots. Maybe reset tool. Now reset this one as well. Nope. It's like really annoying. Maybe if we now go to X and parent. Nope. And it's still not showing up because we have the history disabled. Need to make sure to record that. Let's go ahead and just let's go with outwards. So of course we need to invert that. It's a little bit like this. I'm just gonna connect those points up so we don't have any n-gons. Let's take this one and just make sure it's in the right place. If you want to make sure that everything's like even, just select all and go to component and just scale that. So we'll make sure everything's nice and straight. So like that. Just gonna extend this all the way here. And let's add a bevel. So holding down Ctrl and then right click, you can convert your selection to whatever you want. This should be pretty sharp, so I think I'm gonna do it like that. I think maybe we can change that one a little bit. I think like that. Then we're gonna add an extra edge like here. Then scale this up as well. Just trying to match the curvature that I'm seeing. It's not a big deal if we don't exactly match it, but I'm just trying to get like kind of close, because why not? I'm just gonna add an extra loop here. We can move this out a little bit. I think that looks pretty okay. Did we make it more thick? Nah, just looks like that. Do you want to thin that out a little bit? I think we can bevel this one. Nope, it looks horrible. Let's see. Should add like a extra segment to match that over there. Then edge slide and then match that up. If we do shift greater than sign, then we can grow the selection and we can easily hide some stuff. We can just add a bevel in here. I want this to be like a really small bevel. And ignore this stuff, this looks all messed up, it's just a preview. Now let's connect those points up again. And sometimes you have to go out your view to get it updated. ignore how it looks, it's all fine. And I think that's close enough. You wanna take this one, just kinda move that like in to give some imperfection to the surface. You can use the soft select, just kinda move that around. And I think like that's okay. And don't really worry about making everything perfect, right? Like, I don't really know what's happening here too much. Well, actually, I think this was like a little ring that's on here, and then we just have a normal hook there. Okay, that's annoying. Let's just delete this. And we just transfer this into a hook. And a fill. And is it though? Because I guess the inside looks different. Let's see if I can look on a different image a little bit better. Actually, it's just, I think it's part of it. Like when I look at here, you have this, it's all the same like color, and then this is really different. Just undo that. So we can just keep it like that. And it doesn't need to be perfect, right? Like if you can barely see what it is, no one's like gonna look at your 3D model, right? And say, oh, that little hook is wrong. Just trying to like get something in there. Just by following some reference, it doesn't need to match exactly. It's gonna give the really detailed look. And that's the only thing that's important. So I'm gonna do that little hook now, I think. Actually, let's make this ring first. So to do that, you can do it with curves, but I prefer to just get a cube again. I think doing it with curves just like overcomplicating it. Most of the stuff I like to do with a cube and then just delete that and then have like a little plane. Just model from that plane. This should be about as thick as the strap. And we can just offset that. Then this is really rounded. Add a big bevel here. Now one more here. Edit edge flow. Let's add some new ones. And edit that edge flow. You wanna be sure that I edit that edge flow an even amount. So keep it like nice and rounded and even. This one's pretty rounded, but it's a little bit straighter. And if you hit the G key, you can repeat your last action, by the way. It's really important to use in Maya. Maybe something like that. Just make sure everything's nice and straight. I'm just gonna extrude that. Hold on. Straight. And then extrude. gonna kind of freehand the thickness there. It's a little thick. And I'm just doing this all by hand, like the thickness, because it's a little bit fast and I don't care about making it perfect. It's like little imperfections is what's gonna make it look more realistic. So we have a good excuse to be lazy, which is great. So before edit edge flow, you could add like an extra thingy, just to kind of have that effect less strong of the edit edge flow. I think that looks okay. I'm just gonna place that. And then we have this questionable hook. But I guess it's like coming from this part, because it has like the same color. This would hook, then this stay in place, and then I guess that could work. Now place everything a bit more towards there. And again, it doesn't matter if this is not how it actually works in real life, because no one's gonna actually notice it. Unless you got like a World War II helmet specialist. He might say, oh, that's wrong, but who cares? So again, just going in with a cube. And I wish they had like a primitive for just a flat plane without subdivision. That'd be great. Just delete that. So let's get this stuff in Zbrush. Let's do it one by one. Just actually I'm gonna insert one so it doesn't have the dynamic thickness, and import that. We're gonna just add dynamic subdiv. And there we have it. This still looks a little bit too thick though. That looks a bit better. So lastly, let's do this little hook really quick. This should all be pretty fast to model. Shouldn't have too much trouble doing this. That's the nice part about character art, right? We don't have to model too much of a complicated models. If you're modeling a weapon or a car, it's quite difficult. But it's not too bad. Just gonna add that thickness already in Maya. Just trying to avoid that effect where it's like going up again. Just like that. Actually, I think if we just connect it here, we get a little bit of a nicer smoothing. So let's see. I don't care too much about having that perfect. Again, imperfections make it perfect. Now let's add a bevel. Actually, we shouldn't bevel that part. That smooths out really well. Just gonna add a quick bevel here for sanity's sake. Just so it keeps that shape better. So that's looking pretty good. Maybe we made that one too sharp, so we can just get rid of that one later. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better. Why is it not selecting? This. Just delete that. Let's see the difference. I think it's gonna make a little difference, but big enough. Actually that's worse. Should have made that bevel bigger, but it's okay. Doesn't really matter. I'm gonna touch it up with sculpting brushes later anyway. Just gonna merge that down. That's mirror. Let's see. It's like sticking in between those two. This has too much thickness. You can see how we're like, when we put more parts in, stuff kind of starts to just fall in each other. Because now I can see, oh, I have too much thickness because that thing is not working. That's why you wanna like work on every part together, because you know there's little things like that. I'm gonna move this to the right layer. It's already in the right layer, that's nice. Let's see. Let's give it some color. Make that symmetrical, those polygroups. It should be like similar to this one, a little bit more yellow. This one should be the same as the goggles. This one should be like gold. I just wanna rotate a little bit. Trying to align it better with the strap. I'm gonna keep all these things merged for now. I think it's easier to adjust that way. And I do think this is sticking out too much. So let's just do it like that. Move here a bit. Then we can bend this piece. So it's like a bend in the middle. And I think that makes for a nice silhouette. Because I think this looks a little weird. I think those flare out. I just kind of bend that up. We should have added some extra polys here. Actually, we can do this in Zbrush, so we don't lose poly paint. I hate this in Zbrush though. I think the Z modeler tools still need a lot of work. bit something like that. This should all be way closer. As you can see, it should be on the ladder, that thing. Something like this maybe. I think we should delete this. Delete. Edge loop complete. Just delete that. Now we can just make this shorter. I'm just making a bend in that metal. We're back to basically modeling, but in Zbrush. So I do want to be sure that that edge stays like nice and even. Not that like the back polys are like this. I think that looks okay. So let's make that little leather piece. This one I'm just gonna do in Zbrush partly, so duplicate this one. Just go here, with that in place. Let's get rid of most of the model. And I hate when it won't get lower than this. I'm not sure why it sometimes refuses to work properly. And try the new method. It's doing a worse job. So we can export this and import. I think now it should work. Nope. Great. I'm just gonna export this to Maya. So I'm fixing up the topology. And edit. Now let's add that, like the little turning. It's just one edge here. Connect that. Move it out. Then let's try matching the topology on the front. So 1, 2, 3. Just gonna rotate it a bit. And these are like sewn together. They should be a little bit closer here. If they're moving weird, it's because you have done it normal. Actually, let's get rid of this. Let's make sure it's like really nice and even. Now over here it should like kinda squeeze in. Not sure why it's messing my pivot point up. Something like that. I think that looks clean enough to be a bit better. So now we can just take this, move this in or out. I kind of choose the thickness. Then just select those, delete. I hate the way my applies thickness sometimes. So just merge it all up. And delete. Now it's like all nicely and even. So connect. We can move this one out a little bit. Scale that up a little bit. Let's add a new edge here and there. Let's scale this down a bit. It's gonna give like a nice rounded edge effect there. Then move that in. We could create some imperfections with this edge. This one should be really close together. That's too close. Something like that. I think now we are ready to take the Zbrush. Just import it again. And with dynamic, let's put the offset at like something that makes it look nice. Take the segments down. Just look for an amount that makes it look pretty nice. I think like that. I just move that nicely into place. Gonna bring that offset until like it touches here where that stitching is happening. Maybe it's a little bit too thick. Yeah, I think that looks better. Make sure you don't have like double stuff going on. And then we have this gap here. I'm just gonna go ahead and make sure we don't have a gap. This just because we're gonna bake this down. Then that gap is gonna be ugly in the bake. So you wanna kinda take your bake already into consideration. Because gaps don't bake nicely. And I think this should be a little bit longer there. This flashes too much. Actually, the length is fine. Make sure it's in goggles. Now I know this is more like a strap, but I'm gonna put that goggles. I just wanna have these like these light straps in the strap folder. I think it's a bit easier. You can see how this adds quite a lot of detail to the model already. So that's nice. And here I'm moving it, because if I take a look from this angle, I do not like this triangular shape that's creating. So if we just kind of move it, we get a nice curve from this angle. Just kind of check it out from multiple angles and try to get it to look as nice as possible from multiple angles. Now this one should be a little bit smaller. So this one goes into a leather clip. Get rid of this black. It's a little distracting. Put a quick line in here to visualize. Actually, we need to have the visions first. I think the next thing that's the most important is going to be this tube. So let's move to the tube. And actually I think the eyes have been bothering me for a bit and I didn't realize why, but they're like droopy. We should like push the ladder up a bit here. Let's just take this and just move that up. Yeah, that's looking less like some droopy eyes. I think that looks a lot better. Try to get like a nice front view of it as well. You can see that thickness here, that profile change. If there's like one part that's too thin, we can mask it. Let's first do a layer. So we can mask that. Disable polypaint. Gonna feather it out a bit and then polish. Then just invert. It's gonna make that a little bit thicker again. So let's go ahead and do the tube. Also my Zbrush looks a little bit different now. All I did was just turn on the occlusion. Then go to light. This one adds a lot light. You can just create the light and then click it for like a little backlight. I think that's just a little bit nice to look at. So for the tube, we're gonna do this in Maya and Zbrush. So we're gonna create a curve brush. And if you have never created a curve brush before, it's really easy. All that we need to do is take like a look here how it looks. Go create polygon cube. Again, always working with cubes. Can smooth it out, connect, bevel. Then over here, let's just extrude that. Then connect. And finally add an extra loop. Then this one should be a little bit closer to here. Now we have like a thingy, but it's kind of difficult to tell how it's actually looking when it's stacked on top of each other. So let's just make this a little bigger. Now let's freeze the transform, go to front. I'm gonna put this in here. So I think that works in the one. Put this like this. Should be a little bit higher. This doesn't need to be perfect, but if you're like me, you're a crippling perfectionist when it comes to these things. So you want to be sure that you get it exactly on that line by holding down the X to snap. Now we can go to edit, duplicate, special. This is amazing. So 0, and then in the Y we want to do it by 1. The number of copies, I'm just gonna bump this up to like 20 whatever, and then duplicate special. And that's horrible. What happened? Freeze transform. That's 10. Edit duplicate type by special. And put this to 10. Now apply. Why does it do that? That's an odd number, 9.6. For sure. Edit duplicate by type special. 9.6. Having a really difficult time doing this. So instead of the comma, a point, 9.6. Yeah, and now we get a nice tube. So now we can visualize a little bit better, in my opinion. We can make some better decisions. So I do think it's sticking out too much. Since we made instances, we can just go to our first one. We can scale that down. I didn't make instances. So let's go here. Like I said, I'm having a really hard time doing the duplicate special. So duplicate special instance. And now everything works. I think the transition could be a little bit softer maybe. Maybe if we bevel that out. I think that's okay. Just try to get rid of that super harsh line there. Let's see. Gonna get rid of this one here again. I think should take this, scale that in. Maybe keep a bevel. One that's a little bit less strong. Yeah, I think like that's okay. Maybe take this one and scale it. I think that's a pretty good looking tube. I will just take all these and delete them. So this looks fine. Let's do an export. Just gonna put pivot in the middle, because why not? So now we do a duplicate of this thing. I don't know why we duplicated it. Let's delete it. We delete this thing. Now we do an append sphere. We're gonna make an import and then save. I love to save before making these brushes, because Zbrush sucks sometimes, right? So something like that. Now all we have to do is go to brush. Brush save as, I think. No, brush insert. Where's the insert? Create insert mesh. New. Let's go to cylinder, make polymesh. Now you can see if we drag this, we get our mesh back. So now we go to stroke, curve mode. Now we can start tracking a tube. But we have the problem where everything is like one big mess, right? I think we do that by let's first do the curve step, then brush. Let's move this out the way. Curve and nope. Haven't done this in a while. Modifies, weld points. Actually, maybe we messed up the curve. I'm not sure. Hold on. Just gonna go. Yeah, I think we messed the curve up. I think to have weld work, you have to go here and do like a duplicate. So put that right there. Another one here. And then we have to export these. Import and weld those points. You want to be sure that you have like different polygroups. Do save. And now we should go to brush, create, insert mesh, new. And go to stroke, curve mode, brush. Where is it? Modify, tripods and weld points. Let's try stretch. Yeah. And as you see, everything is like nicely and merged together. Yeah, and we should disable that stretch. Beautiful. So go to stroke and put that down. I do think we're still messing something up in our setup. Looks a little strange, right? I don't think we actually have to weld the points. It's messing up like that. Let's try that again without points merged. Make sure we have weld points enabled. Yeah, now it's working the way it should be. Let's see, let's choose a good curve step. It's still doing some weird stuff, right? Maybe we'll just do this in Maya. I think Zbrush is a little bit too like I say that it's a little bit too unpredictable with curves, which is annoying. So yeah, we're just gonna do this all the way in Maya. So I do think we can just keep it as an instance now. Just gonna make a new save. Let's go to projects. Let's find a project, Maya. Actually, I think it's also better if we do it in Maya. We're gonna have a little bit more control. It's gonna be a little bit less destructive. So let's call this tube. The first thing that we need to do is we need to get some of our mask back in Maya. Let's export that. Actually, let's apply and then export and undo that apply. So we actually have some thickness. Make this smaller. Actually, we need this to be a little bit more like, you know, you see that? Just gonna make it duplicate. Yeah. Actually also apply the first subdivision. Go here. Just want to scale them on this one. We can get rid of that one. I think that will do it. Quick check. I think it's all a bit too thick. So I'm holding down V to snap to a vertex. So T, V, and then we can just snap that there. Okay, so we need to add a little bevel there. Just push chamfer off. Actually, let's keep that chamfer on. I'm really trying to just kind of go ahead and match the feel of that tube. So I think like that's pretty good. So let's save. Let's see. Let's make this as tube backup. Let's call this backup. So we can always revert back to it. Just check the scaling. So if we can patch be a bit bigger. So maybe something like that. Put that all to 0 and freeze the transform. So now we got like a lot of these thingies. I have no idea how many, but let's just go with a big number like 100. Freeze the transform. Let's see how much do we have to move this. 1.38. So do a duplicate of the backup. Just gonna put this as a copy. Put that value in there. Then let's say 99 times, so we get 100 of them. Yeah, that's too big, but that's okay. It's okay if it's too big, as long as it's not too small. So combine history, and let's go ahead and merge that. Actually, how high is this poly count? 10,000. Let's continue with this for a little bit. I think it's okay, because I care more about the render than anything. This is not like a project, right? I do want to keep an eye on that poly count. Let's make that a little bit shorter. Just gonna go here and delete everything after this. I think that's fine. Do a duplicate. Now vertex. Just gonna see what happens when we merge a vertex. Try to get a low poly count. Do like 0.03, 0.08, 0.1, 0.08. Okay, so that's mergeable. Then we're left with all these. That's like 5k. I do still kind of want to push that, you know? So I want to have that. Yeah, I want to have those rounded segments in there. And we need to go through a hell of producing this by hand. But we have a script. Select every other ring. We should start with like a good one. Then delete. Then try that again. That's like uneven. We can get to this evenly. 10,000. I think we can download like a script for this later on, so we can like continue this selection, so we don't have to do that all by hand. I think it will be fine. It won't be too much like this. And I like the sizing of it. But if you're making this for, let's say, a game, for example, you need to make the... For example, you need to make these ones a little bit thicker, so you can get away with less of them, which is going to result in less poly count. But it doesn't really matter, as I'm doing it for a render. That's something to keep in mind. So now let's call this one 2. Gonna move it down. Let's export to Zbrush, so we get a better idea of how it looks. I do think we can make it a little bit bigger, those things. Something more like this. Just nice, so we can get rid of some of that poly count. I'm just gonna place that like right here, because we do still have a little attach thing. Gonna make a export of this one. I'm gonna put this one in here as well. It's gonna be a backup as well. And let's save that. Now we're done in Maya. Now to like shape this one up, we go to bend curve. Actually, we do here. Let's export that. Save. Want to be sure that I start off with a straight pivot. And now if we go to bend curve, can increase resolution. Now we can just bend this to whatever we like, to a nice shape. I think this is just gonna give a little bit of a better result than using those curve brushes. Because now everything will just stay nice and even and you have more control to actually edit it. So basically, in short, I hate using the curve brushes in ZBrush. I think they're horrible. I don't understand why they cannot just work like this. That we have like points and then we can keep those points. That'd be great. But we can't. So we can increase the points that we have, the resolution. Just kind of move that around. And I'm probably gonna go back later in Maya and grab that one without like these points and redo it. But for now, I just want to get something in here. There's gonna be like a pretty important part of the asset, because it's gonna create a lot of silhouettes. So if we have like an ugly shape, like let's say like this, that's actually not too bad. Like this is just gonna look a little odd, but I do kinda like it. I know, but this is like a nice opportunity to create an interesting, nice looking silhouette for our render. So then we can like kind of make it curve in itself, so you can follow that, and then we have like curvature going in itself. The tube is too long as well, but for now let's keep it like this. Then later we're gonna grab this one out of Maya and we're gonna replace that. Gonna put two of them to make sure I don't mess up and delete them. So the next point would be to make this a little thinny, so we actually have the tube connected. Also, let's make this black. So let's go ahead and block this piece out. I'm just gonna grab this, duplicate it and apply. Now we can just mask it. And let's extract. As you can see, it's like pointing out, so you can make a layer. Let's polish features. Now we can invert that effect to get like pointing out. Let's bake all. Gonna V-remesh that. I think like that. Set some thickness. I'm gonna do two. This is gonna be a strap here. And duplicate that. And here it's gonna connect the tube. I think the distance is a little bit too big if I look at this. Now we can make this a little bigger. Something like this. Make sure it's about even thickness. Remember, it doesn't need to be perfect, we're still just doing the block out after all. Oh, that's pretty cool. We get it straight back. Usually this breaks, but that's nice that it didn't. Why is it rotating? I think this one's still a little bit too big. Yeah, you see now it broke. Not sure why it didn't break earlier though. Maybe something like that. Just get a new light again. I think this thing needs to be a little bit thicker, so we need the space for the strap here. Let's make sure the thickness is about even. Something like that looks okay. So this one needs to be a little bit longer. Should make this one long as well. Something like that. You can see how these things are pretty easy to adjust. Now we just gotta adjust the thickness on all of them. That way we can push everything out a bit. So I put these little thingies in here. Just gonna mask where I want them to be. And let's extract. see, this one should be like more white. Something like that. Maybe this should only be one. Kind of feel like there's one of those things that just has one of them. See if I can find it on the reference. Yeah, I think this is just supposed to have one of them. Let's get rid of that one. Yeah, that looks more natural as well. Then we also have like a little thingy here. Just gonna put a cylinder to block that out. Should flip this image again. And I think we're gonna spend some time getting this to look more detailed, because right now it just looks like a distracting little snout. It has lots of details. So there's definitely a thing that I want to model instead of sculpting. But before, I just want to be like sure that I get the size about right. I think it should be a bit bigger. Just keep symmetry on. Gonna put an extra hole here. Let's get some low poly count. You can see I was slowly just getting more detailed and more detailed with each piece. That's how you want to work. You want to slowly work your way up to all the details. Just kind of looking at it and thinking how it should look like. This one should be rotated. Like that maybe. Don't want to break that symmetry just yet. And we have like a little pin there. Do duplication. So that's gonna be that one. I'm just putting it in already so I can see the size a little bit better. So let's see. I think the size is about right. I do feel this needs to be a little bit smaller. This all needs to be pushed a bit back. gonna hide all this stuff for a bit.